There's more reaction to the story everyone's talking about. The CEO caught on kiss cam at a Coldplay concert, snuggling with his head of human resources. Today, there are serious questions whether they will be forced to leave their job.
53 million views later, it's hard to believe this all started with a concert. Not a headline, not a leak, not a carefully planted rumor. Just a regular Saturday night at Gillette Stadium where thousands of Coldplay fans were dancing, singing, and completely unaware they were about to witness the start of a corporate implosion. The kiss. Cam was rolling, the band was mid-set, and in just 15 seconds, a flicker of nervous body language, a failed attempt to duck the camera, and a throwaway joke from Chris Martin, two people went from respected professionals to the center of one of the most humiliating public scandals of the year.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
The woman who shot that now infamous Coldplay kiss cam that caught two executives apparently cheating is speaking out to Inside Edition. 28-year-old Grace Springer was at the concert at the Gillette Stadium in Boston and captured the moment that has now been viewed 53 million times.
The moment would have been forgotten by morning, but it wasn't, because someone captured it and posted it. And once that video hit TikTok, the internet didn't just react, it exploded. At the center of it all, Andy Byron, CEO of a billion-dollar AI startup, husband and father of three. And sitting beside him that night wasn't his wife, it was Kristen Cabot, his recently hired head of human resources. The footage shows them leaning in, locked in what one fan described as an awkward freeze frame, as the camera lingers, and Chris Martin, likely with zero idea who they were, quips, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. The crowd laughs, the video ends, but the real story was only just beginning. Because what no one in that stadium could have guessed was that the couple on screen weren't just coworkers. They were now the faces of a scandal so raw, even the New York Post dubbed it Dumbotron. But here's what most people don't know.
I could have never guessed that it would be such high-profile individuals in the video. I do feel sorry for their partners and spouses that they had to find out this way.
The woman who shot that viral video, she almost didn't post it. Her name is Grace Springer. She's 28, just another concert goer in the crowd that night with her phone out. And what she caught, she says, didn't even register at first. I thought it was a cute moment, she told Inside Edition, but it was their reaction that made me press upload. Grace says if the couple had acted natural, smiled, waved, kissed even, the moment would have disappeared into the sea of stadium footage. But instead, they recoiled. Andy visibly flinched. Kristen ducked her face. And within minutes of posting, people in the tech world started commenting, "Is that Andy Byron? That looks like Kristen Cabot." The clip went from cute to catastrophic. And now, Byron's wife has deleted her social media. His children are being dragged into online conversations. And Kristen, already controversial for her rapid rise within the company, is facing scrutiny that could cost her everything. But this was just the opening act.
You think if they had not tried to hide, Coldplay would have moved on?
100%. I think if they acted natural, no one would have thought twice. What a cute couple. I mean, I'm sure people in their inner circle might have caught something, but I definitely wouldn't have posted that video if the reaction wasn't the way that it was.
Let's rewind just a few months before that fateful concert. Andy Byron wasn't just another CEO, he was Silicon Valley's golden boy. He'd built his AI company, Astronomer, from a scrappy startup into a billion-dollar powerhouse, securing government contracts, investor worship, and tech conference keynotes with a kind of polish that made him look untouchable. To outsiders, he was a visionary. To insiders, a ruthless operator. And right around the time his company was preparing for global expansion, Kristen Cabot entered the picture, hired as head of human resources just 8 months before the Coldplay concert. Her arrival turned heads, not just for her rapid ascent, but for the tight inner circle she quickly became part of. Some employees whispered about favoritism, others noticed how she seemed unusually close to Byron, often skipping the usual chain of command and showing up in leadership meetings that technically weren't part of her role. Here's where things get even messier.
This requires, to me, not one, but 2 resignations.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Insiders claim Byron personally fast-tracked her onboarding, even rewriting policy to allow her more autonomy over hiring and firing. That move rubbed some board members the wrong way, but no one challenged him. Not back then. Kristen, divorced for 3 years and known for her blunt style, had a reputation for getting results, but also for blurring boundaries. At the time, it was considered a bold leadership shakeup. Now, Every decision she touched is being reevaluated under a microscope. Employees are leaking Slack messages, HR records are being audited, and the very person meant to safeguard company ethics is now the center of a scandal that threatens the entire organization. And the timing? Couldn't be worse. Just weeks before the concert, Astronomer had been in talks for a major global expansion, including a possible IPO. Fortune magazine had named them one of the top 10 AI companies to watch. Investors were circling. Byron was being positioned as the future of ethical AI. That image, it's shattered, and the damage control isn't going well.
He's married with teenage children. Kristen Cabot has been divorced for 3 years. She was hired just 8 months ago. And now that 15 seconds of video is having a devastating impact on both of their lives.
Sources inside the company say staff morale has collapsed. One senior engineer reportedly walked out mid-meeting, saying, "If this is what leadership looks like, I'm out." Legal teams have issued gag orders. PR advisors are desperately trying to reframe the incident as a private matter, but nothing about it feels private anymore. Especially when parody videos are flooding TikTok, late-night hosts are making jokes, and industry insiders are speculating that Byron's days as CEO are numbered. But here's the part almost no one knows. Coldplay's team has been contacted by Byron's lawyers. Yes, behind the scenes, things have taken a bizarre turn. According to 2 entertainment attorneys who spoke anonymously, there's speculation that Byron's team may have explored legal options against the band, or more likely, the concert's production company.
Byron's wife isn't laughing. She's scrubbed her social media.
I think cheating is an abomination, okay? And this man has a wife, he has children, these kids are gonna have to watch and see this. They don't look, I would be devastated if I was his wife.
The argument? That the joke made on stage contributed to reputational harm. It's a long shot, and likely won't hold in court, but it speaks volumes about the panic inside Byron's camp. Because if the narrative can't be controlled, they're now trying to redirect blame, but the internet isn't buying it. In fact, Byron's attempt to lawyer up has only made him look more guilty, and fans are digging even deeper into his past. This is where everything begins to spiral, not just for Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot, but for the entire company caught in their blast radius. As media coverage ramped up and TikTok turned the scandal into a meme war, the people closest to the situation started talking. Multiple anonymous employees, some under NDA, began leaking information to journalists and content creators. Internal emails started surfacing. Slack screenshots showed late-night emoji reactions between Byron and Cabot on messages that had nothing to do with work. One source even claimed the two had been spotted leaving a hotel lobby together during a recent out-of-state company retreat. At the time, no one thought much of it. But now, everything's being reevaluated in hindsight. Wait until you hear this part. Kristen's hiring might not have been above board. An internal whistleblower claims that Kristen wasn't the board's top choice. In fact, she wasn't even on the original shortlist. According to this insider, Byron insisted on inserting her into the final interview round after discovering her resume independently. What he didn't disclose was that they had already met at a tech mixer 6 months prior, where they reportedly exchanged contact information. The source said, "It was clear something was off. No one gets that much direct access to Andy that quickly unless there's a personal connection." If that claim holds up, it opens the door to serious questions about company ethics, favoritism, and potentially even misuse of executive power. Meanwhile, Kristen isn't backing down. Despite the public pressure, she hasn't resigned. Not yet. Instead, she's reportedly lawyered up and is negotiating a potential severance package in the millions. Insiders say she's threatening legal action if forced out without it. And here's the kicker. She allegedly has receipts. One source close to the situation hinted that Kristen has kept screenshots, emails, and private messages that paint a much more complex picture. If that's true, then both Byron and the company are now facing a nightmare scenario. Not just scandal, but exposure. Because if Kristen releases those messages, especially anything that suggests emotional manipulation or false promises, this entire saga could morph into something far darker than a PR disaster. But there's another layer to this that's only now coming to light. Industry analysts are beginning to question whether Astronomer's board knew about the relationship, or worse, helped cover it up. One former advisor told TechCrunch, "I'd be shocked if Andy acted without at least 1 or 2 people on that board knowing what was going on. That's how these things usually work." That statement has sent investors into a frenzy. Because if it turns out there was a coordinated effort to suppress or ignore the affair, it could open the company up to lawsuits, investor withdrawal, and even regulatory scrutiny. What started as a viral video may now evolve into a case study in corporate collapse. This is where the story crosses the line from corporate scandal to cultural phenomenon. The fallout from that 15-second kiss cam clip has officially outgrown Byron and Cabot. It's now a full-blown media circus, the kind that drags in anyone even remotely connected. Over the past 72 hours, #Dumbotron has trended in 5 countries. Coldplay fan accounts have turned into gossip hubs, and Andy Byron's own employees are anonymously posting reaction videos. Some laughing, others looking heartbroken. The public isn't just watching this unfold, they're participating in its destruction. And the question on everyone's mind now isn't what happened, it's who's going down next. Here's where things get really wild. Byron's wife isn't staying silent anymore. While she hasn't made any official statement, sources close to her say she's already met with divorce attorneys. And it's getting ugly. One friend told Page 6, she feels humiliated. This wasn't just cheating, it was cheating on the world's biggest stage. According to those close to the situation, she's also considering a public interview, not for revenge, but to set the record straight about what their marriage had really been like in the months leading up to the scandal. Meanwhile, parenting groups online are demanding accountability for the emotional damage this could cause Byron's teenage kids. One viral post read, "Imagine being in high school and seeing your dad's affair go viral at a Coldplay concert. That's trauma." Suddenly, this isn't just a workplace drama, it's a family crisis playing out in front of the world. And Kristen? She's not hiding anymore either. She was spotted leaving a Boston law office 2 days ago, flanked by 2 high-profile attorneys known for employment lawsuits. That same day, several former colleagues came forward to defend her, saying she was always professional, always strategic, and may have been coaxed into a relationship she didn't want. Now the internet's divided. Some call her a homewrecker. Others say she's the scapegoat. A Change.org petition is even circulating, demanding that Byron resign while Kristen receive a fair settlement. Pattern interrupt, but it gets even messier because Byron is still showing up to work. Yes, despite everything, Andy Byron was seen entering astronomer headquarters early Wednesday morning. No comment to reporters, no statement to staff, just walked in like it was business as usual. But employees say things are far from normal. One engineer tweeted, "It's like working inside a sinking ship, only now there's a camera on us." PR teams have stopped replying to press emails. Legal departments are stonewalling journalists and high-level clients. Several have quietly begun pulling their contracts. One insider leaked a termination clause from a Fortune 100 partner that allows for immediate cancellation in the event of executive misconduct that damages brand integrity. That clause has now been activated. The loss? Estimated at $50 million. That's not just a scandal anymore, that's a financial bleed. By the time the confetti from the Coldplay concert had settled, the lives caught in that kiss cam blast had already changed forever. Andy Byron, once the polished face of a billion-dollar AI empire, is now the poster child for corporate downfall in the age of viral culture. Kristen Cabot, who just 8 months ago was a rising star in HR strategy, is being investigated internally for breach of conduct. And what started as a joke, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy, has become a cautionary tale etched across social media, late-night monologues, and now possibly courtroom transcripts. The company's board has reportedly called an emergency meeting to evaluate next steps. Resignations may be hours, not days, away, and still, the damage isn't contained. Even Coldplay's team has quietly distanced themselves. No public statement, but concert goers at their next show noticed the Kiss Cam segment was noticeably cut. Chris Martin, the man whose spontaneous comment detonated the viral moment, has reportedly been advised not to speak further about the incident. The moment was never meant to single anyone out, a production insider told Variety. It was supposed to be lighthearted. But as one media ethics expert put it, in today's age, the stadium is global. One misstep, one reaction, one misread gesture, and suddenly it's not just a concert. It's the court of public opinion. And that court has spoken, loudly, emotionally, and in memes that will live forever online. But the deeper question remains, what does this say about the world we're living in? A world where privacy is a myth, where viral humiliation can undo years of reputation in seconds, and where the truth often takes a backseat to whatever version of the story makes the best content. Andy Byron might lose his job, Kristen Cabot may cash out with a settlement, the spouses and kids, they'll be the ones carrying the emotional aftermath far away from the comment sections. But make no mistake, this won't be the last time it happens. As companies grow more image-obsessed and culture more spectacle-driven, the next scandal could be just one tap of a record button away. And here's the final twist. Grace Springer, the woman who filmed it all, she's been offered multiple brand deals. The same video that triggered this collapse is now turning her into an influencer. She says she never meant to hurt anyone. "I just posted what I saw," she said. "They reacted. The internet did the rest." And maybe that's the hardest truth of all. The machine can't be stopped. Not by lawyers, not by silence, not even by good intentions. Once the moment hits the algorithm, it becomes a story no one can control. The question now is, who will be next?